Yobachi 2007 back at you with another one. So we took a look at this video. We had this video about Jeannie Ma here and looking more deeply into her situation, her background, and what might have led her to the situation to where Jeezy can no longer live with this woman, and kind of some of the roots of her lack of maybe uh, genuine nurturing character and genuine feminine effect, as opposed to something she's trying to generate, or where she sends a representative to present as feminine, but she's really not. And we were looking at the reasons behind that, and the situation of the abuse with her cousin, who was a few years older than her, that started, I think, when she was 9. He was a teenager, a cousin who was taking care of her while her mom was at work. Her mom and dad were at work. So this is the conversation she was having. Let's get more into that.
Was trying to get my mom to just get him to leave, but I also wasn't able to say it clearly because I don't even know what that word is in Vietnamese, that someone's touching you. Like, you know what I mean? It's just so weird. So she didn't get it, and she just said, you guys don't like each other right now. Just, ignore each other for now. I kind of went back to my own corner, and he was starting to become more aggressive with what he was doing to me.
So again, this is tragic what happened to Jeannie, and we're going to have a part 2 to this because. So that's where we left off with the last video. If you go ahead and like and subscribe to this video, hit the like button. It'll really help me out, and I'd really appreciate that. And with that, we're going to get back to the program, and we're going to pick up from there and hear more of what's going on and dissect this a little bit.
He was starting to become more aggressive with what he was doing to me in private. So I went to my mom and I said that this person was doing things to me that gave me nightmares. You looked really confused.
I don't realize what you tried to say.
I told you that he took off my clothes.
Yeah, and then I don't believe it. That's my reaction. I don't believe it all because his parent is divorced. So my father bring him to our house, and then he was maybe 1 year old. We bring him and stay with us. He's just like the real son. He talk to me. He respect me. He very sweet. He really nice.
So we see outright from Jeannie's mom's own mouth, her mom didn't believe her that she was getting abused by a male cousin, a few years older again, and she took the guy's side over her, and causing a rift between her and Jeannie for 8 years where they didn't even talk. Jeannie left the house when she was still a teenager, 16 approximately is what she says, and they didn't talk after that for about 8 years. And this woman did not provide protection to her daughter, did not provide, I think, the motherly uh, love that she would have expected, and the nurturing and the protection from a mother that she would have expected. And I think that broke something in Jeannie where she doesn't have that natural inclination towards mothering and nurturing. And I think while she may have tried to provide that, or to switch that in this relationship finally with Jeezy, she is who she's been for 40 years before she married him. She couldn't become some person new all of a sudden after 40 years. And we showed in that last video how she mocked her husband on national television, calling him a Mitch. She's gone out here and talked about how she has anger issues. And you can see how, I think she says here she was angry and she just left.
It didn't match up.
It doesn't match up. I don't believe it, and I just let it go.
I began to get angry because now I'm telling my mom that he's taking off my clothes. And you said, I don't believe you.
So, what men can take from this is you have to look beyond a pretty and soft look and a feminine and demure representative that a woman will send in the beginning of a relationship, an encounter, uh, even for a time. She can hold that up and understand what lies beneath. You do need to look into a woman's background and understand her past. And this is why no matter what women say, no matter how much they protest against it, past absolutely matters. And doesn't mean that women who have had this kind of damage are women who are not uh, worth being with. It doesn't say anything about their worth as a person, but we're not interested in that. We're interested in whether she has valued for you as a man to be in a relationship with you, to come into your life, to live in your household, and to be part of a life with you. And you have to investigate that and get beyond just the exterior or the representative she puts forward. And she hasn't dealt with the damage, hasn't fully dealt with it, and hasn't dealt with it properly. And here she is at this big old age of 40 plus, and still that stuff is there, and that whole background is there, that you need to understand about protecting yourself against the emotional havoc she's going to possibly wreak on you. Let's hear some more from Jeannie on some more discussion again about what I just talked about how I believe that her mother's reaction, her mother's lack of protection and motherly love towards her when she needed it the most, broke something in Jeannie that took away her desire for being a mother, which also coincides with that nurturing feminine effect that is largely the basis of why you would want to be with a woman. Why does a man want to be with a woman who doesn't bring that opposite counterbalance of femininity and nurturing?
I'm still in awe that I'm actually sitting here talking about this. I'm pregnant in a million years. If you took every penny I have and everything I love in my life and bet that I would be pregnant, I would absolutely bet against myself. And here I am. This is a real full circle moment for me. I'm so in awe with how I grew to get to this place. When I was younger, I used to keep a diary, and those were my favorite times in my life because you'd actually sit down and you'd be intentional about writing things out. I don't do that anymore. This has become my diary.
So she uses the internet, the World Wide Web, her social medias, as a way, as a means of almost therapy in her mind. But this isn't therapy, right? But then she projects and puts her whole life on screen, on TV, on the internet. She mocks her previous husband. There's another video I've seen where they were on vacation. She was just making Freddie, her first husband, her cameraman. And remember that last video we showed you that we talked about, that's on my channel, this one here, more on Jeannie, Jeezy, and why she can't really connect to a man. She talked about how he was the best man she's ever known. He was a great man, and he didn't cheat and he didn't do anything, but he still wasn't good enough for her. She even used him on family vacations, on couples vacations, to do a bunch of social media photo shoots where she made him be the photographer instead of being in the moment, because she lives in social media and she makes every aspect of her life available to the public. And Jeezy doesn't like that. He doesn't live like that. Doesn't want to live like that. Doesn't want his life on broadcast like that. And many of you don't either. And you need to be careful and have an understanding about the woman you're bringing into your life, that she understands or doesn't have that propensity in the first place. Because convincing them out of it, you can make her stop for a little bit, and she'll play nice and go along with it, maybe for a minute to get the ring. But once she's got it, if that's the kind of person she is, she's going back to it once she's in there. So you need to, these are the things you need to investigate about women, and be stern basically about what you accept and bring into your life, because this is how they're going to come out on the other side 2 years later, like Jeannie with Jeezy, and you're going to get all of the full real them. You can't take the representative.
This what is this called?
Show.
This show. Oh my God, look at my coming out on the
No,
floor.
I really like this train. Stay on it.
Okay. This show has become my diary. I love looking back at my episodes and seeing how far I've come. I've always said, own you before they do. I have not, up until age 40, owned that I have anxiety issues. I feel like it makes me seem like I'm not good at what I do. I just needed your support. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but
it makes me, I know that I'm crying right now, but actually, I feel like you just set something free inside of me because you believed me enough to go to his house and say something to him. And that's all I needed to see, Mom. In our careers, we look like we have all the answers. We look like, yo, these people can't possibly live a day being unhappy. But I could see right away that he had been broken like me. All of these things have been Dear Diary moments, and you guys have been with me the entire time. Whenever you heard me say, I don't want to have kids, it was just such a clear and cut feeling. There was no reason to elaborate on that. And I was always, and still am, very protective of women and people who don't want to have kids. I don't like the guilt and the pressure that's placed on women to have children. Just because we're women, it means that we have the choice. It doesn't mean that we have to have children. It means that we have the choice. It doesn't mean that we have to have children. It means that we have the choice. My choice was, I'm better off working to better myself as an adult because that's a full-time project for me. Make my life better and fix what I've experienced, or risk ruining another person's.
You hear all of that? Me, myself, my life, about things just being better for me personally, the individual, internally minded uh, uh, aspect and view of life, right? That doesn't inure to family. And then let's go back to earlier in that stretch of clips where she talked about anxiety. So she's starting with the anxiety. She's not even recognizing it and admitting it till she's 40, right? This is a lifetime of who you are rooted in being. Then she talks about, she admits specifically that she's broken. She says that she thinks Jeezy was broken too, or whatever. She connected with that, whatever that means. But she admits she was broken. She can't really speak for Jeezy necessarily, or at least not. That's the issue that he needs to deal with. Likewise, she has to deal with her brokenness. He can't fix it. And men, we have to be clear and understand we cannot fix broken women. But somebody who's broken, who's coming with this damage, and she then tells you what her damage is. It's her mother didn't believe her. She was abused, and she wasn't believed and protected by her mother. So therefore, she didn't want to have children. She didn't have that natural nurturing instinct to be a nurturer. It's not necessarily in her. She's self-focused on me and myself and my fabulous life that I'm sharing with you, all these random people on the internet. Instead of keeping her family life inside of her family with her husband, she wants to bring the world into her marriage. Likewise, she brought, we'll probably pick it up in another video, the next video. She moved her mother and her brother into Jeezy's house without even asking, and they won't leave. She brings everything into her marriage except her husband's emotions and caring about what he wants and what is good for him and concern about him. Because again, she doesn't have that nurturing nature to begin with. We're gonna get up out of here on this one. If you wouldn't mind liking this video, like the video up, please. Hit the subscribe button and the bell to come back for more. We'll get back into it on a part 3, Yobachi 2007. I'm out with this one. Peace.